What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Ox's favorite nerd. Today we are looking at DX9's Carry, which is their take on the Studio Ox design of Rodimus. And he's self-contained, which I dig. So let's get into him a little bit. He comes with 2 accessories. We'll talk about those in a bit. Rolls just fine, which I do find somewhat surprising since I do have an issue with one of my wheels. It's this one. It's just kind of loose on the pin. It's not a big deal, but I do find it a bit aggravating. I'm not going to lie to you. The rest are okay. Other than that, though, he is solid. He doesn't feel hollow at all. It's like a brick. The cab is a little stout. I'm not as picky with all modes as I am with robot modes, so I'm not giving this thing a pass. I'm definitely letting you know that there's something wrong with this cab design wise in terms of aesthetics. But outside of that, I kind of dig it. I love the lines down here. Now this is the problem with putting yellow paint on the red plastic, which is this is red paint on yellow plastic. So that's just sloppy. That irritates me. All that in there. Can you see it? Outside of that, the red is fairly clean and matches fairly well. Not insane, but fairly well. The orange is done brilliantly, like perfect, spot on, no problems. The orange up there is done well. The orange and yellow are really sharp there. A little imperfection there. This side is perfect. You know, that's spot on. Very good. That yellow's clean. That orange is clean. All this yellow is very well done. That yellow is well done. That orange is just orange plastic. So there's a ton of paint, which is nice. I like, you know I'm a sucker for paint. I like a lot of paint. I can get behind this. Very cool. All that silver paint there in the back is all done really well. Lot of paint. I dig it. Cab is a little stout. Rolls okay, and I got a loose wheel. And that's kind of where I'm at with this thing. And I wanted to mention the rubber wheels if I hadn't mentioned them before, because that's a nice touch. Just for a point of reference, there's a Masterpiece car. So the whole thing seems maybe a little small. I think that's kind of a sacrifice you have to make for it to be self-contained, if having it self-contained is an issue for you, or is a big deal, or is something that bothers you. For me, I really like the idea of all of it being a part of him, and not just disappearing, or becoming a battle station or some such nonsense. So here's a size comparison of him with the G1, and I gotta tell you, like, now looking at him, the lack of spoiler irritates me, but I didn't even notice before. But yeah, so they're actually fairly comparable. Sticker's seen better days now. Anyway, put him there, him there. On to the accessories. So he comes with this guy who's supposed to be Firebolt, but he doesn't really look much like him, in my opinion. Which is my biggest problem with him, because outside of that, I kind of dig him. Head, it has no articulation whatsoever. That's a bummer. The shoulders are on bald pegs. You get up to there, although the clearance isn't great, and then around. And then the elbows are on ball pegs, like a Hasbro Voyager. And then no waist articulation due to transformation. T-jointed ball joints for hips. Ball pegs for knees, and then the ankles are on a hinge that comes down to a ball peg, so you get a little bit of a rocker. Nothing crazy though, but he is a cool little guy. And all this, like, there's a metallic, like, baked on finish of paint, which is nice to break it up. It looks good. It looks real good. These kind of don't look good because the rest of it look good, and the fact that he looks nothing like Firebolt. Like, I think that this guy looks much better. And he's better articulated, to be quite honest, with the exception of the feet. But I like this guy's transformation, and I like this guy's gun a lot better, even though the gun doesn't look much like Fireball. So, I don't know, it's a trade-off, but what you do is... Oh, he comes with this little accessory too, which he doesn't really hold. Well, it's not entirely true. So if you have him holding it properly, the elbow kind of, you know, the gun is so long that he has to kind of always have his hand straight up, unless I guess you can have him hold it underneath, and that's okay. Do you know what I mean? That's fine. It's just, it's a little weird, but it's fine. Alright, so let's get him transformed. You have to take these off. He does parts form a bit, so if you're funny about that, then that's going to be an issue for you. That doesn't bother me at all. Alright. Those peg in there, and then you kind of rotate this so that he holds his leg. Same on the other side. And then rotate this and this one. Like, I noticed this one, like, one pegs in and one doesn't. So I think that officially you're supposed to have it so that it's kind of a mirror image, but the handle's so short that you can also just keep this one up as a like a, you know, a stock or whatever. And I think that's how I'm gonna roll. And then you take this bit here, plug her in, and and then these pieces kind of re-secure it at the end. And I think that this is a really cool weapon. I just don't think it's very accurate, but I do think it's, like, you know, it's a badass rifle. And then if you want to be ridiculous, you can plug it into the top of the vehicle and you're good to go. Alright, so you got to open up this this backpack bit here, and these side pieces. Ugh, there. A little tight, like a tiger. And then see if we can get this other piece up in there. There we go. Alright. And then this piece comes up there as well. And you start collapsing this. So hinge down, hinge back, hinge down, hinge back, and that actually plugs in pretty securely. And then this what's going on here? Okay, this comes up, these come down, and they should, I thought they sat a little better, but maybe not. And then this comes down on top. Alright. And this kind of gets up out of the way. So that's most of the backpack done. Bring these pieces down, these side panels, and then fold them back around on top of themselves, and then bring these pieces down and plug in. And then these heel spurs come down. Might need a flat head for that. There we go. Ugh, that's tight. All right, there you go. And this is die cast. To the other side. There we go. All right. And then you want to swivel at the thigh swivel them 180. And that's the bottom bit done. Now, let's move on up, y'all. Alright, so get this back piece here out of the way. Bring these down. And bring this back around. Oh, this is on the sliding piece, so bring that up. And down, and then epic head reveal around. And I got a paint chip on the nose. Before you bring this up, make sure you fold this back piece up, and then this other piece stays out. I don't know, we'll take a look at that windshield there in a minute. Then tab it all in. And let's see here. Bring the fist out. Bring them around. Same on this side. Fist out, swivel them around, untab this, bring it down. And there you have him. Now let's take a look. The head is on a ball peg, and then it's on this hinge piece here. So you get a good bit down, which is fine, but not much up. And the eyes are painted okay. I got a little chip in mine right there. I got a little chip on the nose, and that is aggravating. Silver paint in there, which looks good. And the rest of it seems to be like a red. There seems to be like a finish, like maybe a metallic finish on this piece and this piece, or it might just be a different kind of plastic. I think it might be a metallic finish. And the flames are yellow paint on orange plastic, and then this is black paint here and here, and that's all done fairly sharp. Needs an Autobot symbol desperately, right? Shoulders, ratcheted hinge up, and even with this big piece of kibble, get you a fair bit up, but then you can't really do much with the head, you know, unless you swivel it this way, and you can get the forward bit, no problem. But if you want to straight out to the side, it could be a bit of an issue, because you're going to hit here unless you go in front of it. Gray paint in there, looks good. It's that same metallic finish there, that looks good. The gray paint there looks good. Bicep swivel right above the elbow. This tire, like it looks even worse now. Elbow, get you 90 degrees. A little disproportionate arms, like this is very small in comparison to all this, but nice orange paint and yellow paint on there, and then the chrome looks good on the side. Fingers, we have the wrist swivel as we've seen, and then the fingers are on the bottom three are on a single pin, and then the index finger is on 2 pins, one at the base knuckle and then one at the next knuckle up. So that's fine, no real issues there. Same on the other side, and then you get the soft ratcheted swivel all the way around, and you can get it all the way around even with the backpack. Chest we've talked about. We do have a waist swivel, and the hips universals on a swivel, front and back, no problem. Ratchet it out to the side. Not the best ratchets, but they do work fairly well. Actually, they work really well. They work really well. Thigh swivel. It feels like there's an attempt at a soft ratchet in there, but it's very weird. Get you 90 degrees, no problem. Maybe a little bit past. And thigh swell we already talked about. Not a lick of paint on the thighs or hips. The pelvis does have this metallic finish in places, and the knees have this little bit of yellow paint in there. Metallic finish on this gray here, which looks good. And then the foot, you get no tilt, but you get a rocker. So if you had to have one, that's definitely the one you want to have, but having both would have been preferred. Alright, let's see how he does holding his guns, or his gun rather. Now, I've seen all the internet pictures of how to fix this or whatever, but, you know, he doesn't, it's not the greatest. But you can kind of have this, I've seen people do this little bit out to the side or whatever, and maybe take one of these fins off. But does that plug in too? That would be alright. Yeah, so that plugs in there. And that's better. But he doesn't really hold it that well. It's like at an angle because of the mold there, you see? And if you have it up too high where he's only holding on to the base of the gun, he doesn't really hold it well. So that's really aggravating. Luckily, I'm not a big fan of that gun anyway. I think it's a cool design. I just don't think it fits Rodimus very well. I wonder if he'll hold... okay. So you can have him hold the Masterpiece one. You know... So I'm kind of cool with that. I mean, I know Rodimus never had the Target Master, but I'm kind of okay with that. So that works. So there he is next to MP Rodimus, and now I gotta admit I'm not the biggest fan of this anyway. But like this guy has always felt kind of flimsy to me. You know, it's just he's always kind of felt like rattly and flimsy, and this guy doesn't feel that way at all. This guy feels solid as a rock. I don't know. So this will be my Rodimus, and I'll probably transform this guy into a car and be done with him. And then as far as backpacks go, I mean, you know, obviously there's more here, but this doesn't clean up that poorly. And I've seen people flip this 100 different ways, but I kind of like that best. But you know, it's not, I mean, like, obviously the fins here are different, but I kind of like the big, exaggerated, like, you know, I kind of like, I just like that design-wise. Like, you know, I understand that this is whatever, but, like, I like that, you know, makes a bit more of a statement. And, of course, there he is with Optimus. And I can get behind that. I think it looks good. Final thoughts-wise, here are the negatives. This guy has a lot of paint. And it's not that DX9 isn't used to painting their figures, but this guy has a lot of paint. And as a result, like, I've got a fair amount of mistakes with the paint. You know, so like if you're a paint guy, it's going to irritate you if yours has the same issues mine has. But it's definitely one of those things where individual results may vary. Mine has a few major issues, like the one on the face, there's one on the eye, there's one on the fire on the wings, on the back. It's just, you know, like that stuff drives me nuts. I also got that loose wheel, which is really unfortunate. And then this guy is kind of like, I love his transformation, and I love the way the rifle looks in the end, but it just doesn't look appropriate. It just doesn't look like his proper Target Master. It doesn't look like the Target Master character in robot mode. It just doesn't work. It's a little bit too left field. I mean, there's some articulation issues, you know, the fact that the shoulders, you know, are kind of, you know, you kind of got to work them around, but it's not hateful. You know, you just kind of got to work them around what you're going for. You know, the proportions on the forearms kind of irritate me, and the lack of double jointed elbows kind of irritates me. But all in all, it's fairly well done. The sculpt is fantastic. The transformation, for what it is, the amount of work that's needed in order to make this all happen, it's fairly intuitive and it's fairly enjoyable. Like, I haven't had a fun transformation in a long time, and this guy's pretty fun. A lot of use of double hinges and double panels and stuff that kind of flip around, wrap around, make it what you want. I dig that sort of transformation. It's a good time. The paint is really ambitious. Now, sometimes, as we've discussed, that works to its hindrance, but for the most part, it's applied very well, and I dig that. I like the rubber tires. I like the die-cast feet. There's a lot here that people want in a figure, and it's done fairly well. Not perfect, but fairly well. Do I recommend them? I think that comes down to your enjoyment of the Studio Wax design. Now, there's going to be two types of comments on this video. One is going to be, what does the Studio Ox design look like? If only there were a box that you could hold in your hand that was connected to other boxes that housed all of the human information we had acquired. It's not for everybody, you know, but it is for me. I love the Studio Ox design. You know, and he does have those big wings. Like, it's fairly accurate. I think they did a fairly good job. Now, the other group of people are going to say, why didn't you show the Studio Ox design? And then I will have known you have not watched the entire video. I think that a lot of things that people don't like about this, they don't like because they just don't like Studio Ox. And that's fine. It's just not for you. It's like those Play Arts Kai Star Wars figures or DC variant figures. Like, they don't like the design. It's too anime, it's too video game looking, and that's cool. I get it. It just means it's not for you. But it is for me. I like it. He will be my proper Rodimus. I've never really cared for the MP one, so the MP one will go into car mode and kind of be my car version and used for size comparisons and stuff like that. I recommend him as long as you are into Studio Ox, or if you really hate the MP Rodimus, or Hot Rod, or whatever you want to call him. If you really hate him, this is a good replacement. The plastic's good. You know, the ratchets in the hips, I kind of wish were a little bit more squared away. I don't know how to describe it. Like, they don't feel perfect, but they're there and they work. It's just not what you want with that click. You know, that click in your hands. You know, that feeling. It's not really there with these ratchets, but it is there. Like, the shoulder ones are great, but the hip ones are kind of, they work. They just don't feel right. But yeah, I think that you'll like the guy if you like the Studio Ox design, or if you hate Rodimus. If you love your MP Rodimus, then keep him. It's not worth it. And if you hate Studio Ox, then don't go in on it. But yeah, he'll be my Rodimus. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.